Yes. Let us start today's session. This is the second session of Python full stack web development. I request you who are new to this session, watch the first video in our YouTube channel. Anyway, after completion of this session, our team will send that link also, demo link, video link, which I conducted yesterday. That was the first session. Let me explain in the last session what I discussed. Very simple. I have discussed only Python full stack web development related subjects, what subjects I'm going to cover in full stack development, and each subject purpose I explained simply. Okay. First of all, if you want to become a Python full stack web developer, you must know these subjects like Python, Django, REST API, Flask, SQLite, and MySQL, and UI technologies knowledge. As I said that in entire all the 6 subjects, you are going to learn only one programming language, that is Python. Remaining all are not programming languages. So as I said, Python is a programming language which is used to write coding part for the application development. In entire Python full stack web development, do you want to write any logic? That logic should be written in Python only. And if you want to develop web application or websites in full stack development of Python, we use a framework called Django. Django is not a programming language. It is a framework which is used to develop web application. What is web application means? The application which will provide the services over the web or internet is called web application. Normally, what we are going to use in our daily activities like Flipkart, Amazon, YouTube, Facebook, these are all web applications only. Generally, framework is nothing but collection of libraries. Okay, so once we install this Django framework, for example, there are some built-in libraries will be available. These built-in libraries are ready-made resources. Directly, we can able to use that resources and build that applications with built-in libraries. If I use the reason is all they have implemented already. Okay. Directly we are trying to use. That's called framework. And Django is a Python-based web development framework. To implement web applications using Django framework, we must use Python only. So Python is the prerequisite subject for Django web development because Django is completely written in Python language. And after learning of Django, you must learn REST API. REST API is a framework which is used to develop the APIs. What is the importance of APIs in real time means? API is a software tool which enables the communication between 2 or more applications. Do you want to make your web application to communicate with other applications for doing any transactions? Compulsory API software is required. How we are generating the APIs in full stack development of Python? Using REST architecture. That's what we are calling it as REST API. This REST API purpose, the prerequisite subject is Django. That's what we can call it as DRF, Django REST framework it is. And REST stands for Representational State Transfer, API stands for Application Programming Interface. So this is another framework which you are going to learn. And there is last framework, Flask framework is there. It's also one of the important framework in the Python full stack web development, especially. Using Django, we can develop medium scale applications and large scale web applications. But sometimes programmer requirement is they need to develop single page web applications or micro services programming applications. In that context, Python software foundation people providing a framework called Flask. Flask is a framework which is used to develop web application. It is used to develop single page web applications. Flask is also a Python based micro framework. To learn Flask, Python is the prerequisite subject. And what about SQLite and MySQL? In every full stack web development process, compulsory the person or programmer should have the knowledge on database also. That's what we are including two database tools. One is integrated with Django, that is SQLite 3, and separately we have to include MySQL also. This is other tool. And in full stack development, front-end application development also very, very important. That front-end development means what we are going to see on the screen for the first time when we executing the website. That is UI technologies we are going to cover like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, and Bootstrap. These are UI technologies. This is front-end technologies. And back-end the technology. See, to become a Python full stack developer, you must aware both front-end development process, back-end development process. For front-end development process purpose, we need to have the idea about UI technologies. Back-end development purpose, back-end is having total 3 parts. One is the language. Look at this. One is the language. Which language we are going to use for backend development? Python language. Okay. Next one is framework. The framework. Which frameworks we are going to use for backend development? Django, REST API, Flask. And third one is the database. The database. Yes. Which database tools we are using for backend development? SQLite and MySQL. So backend is having 3 subcomponents. Language is required, frameworks required, database is required. So Python, Django, REST API, Flask, SQLite, and MySQL under comes into backend development process. So this is what I explained in the last lecture. Who are new to this session, you need not to worry. Even if you have any doubts, you can follow my first demo session in the YouTube. So our team will send the link to your mail after completion of this session. Okay, fine. Now today, as I said that, whether Python full stack developer or only Python developer, compulsory I need to teach you first Python only. Okay, only Python core and advanced duration 45 days to 50 days, I said. Some people focus on only Python. They don't really require Python full stack web development subject. Okay. And Python is compulsory required. Today, I'm going to start Python programming only. From today onwards, listen, for the first 45 days to 50 working days, I'm going to focus on only Python related subject because you must have the idea about Python. Without having Python knowledge, you can't move towards Django, REST API, other subjects. That's the reason you should focus on Python more. Already we discussed what is Python. Python is a programming language which is used to write coding part for the application development. Okay, yes. Yes, sir. It is a programming language like C, C++, Java, C#, .NET, other programming language we have already. C language, C++ language, Java language, which is more popular, C#, .NET, which is more popular. But why again Python? Why people are moving around Python nowadays? Okay. The reason behind this, why the people are moving around Python means Python syntaxes or programming rules and regulations are very simple when compared to other languages. This is one of the main reason. Okay, when we go through C language or C++, C#, .NET, Java, that language syntaxes are little bit complex because programmers are hard thing to remove or hard thing to remember. But when it comes to Python, this Python is completely straightforward language. Everybody can able to understand Python syntaxes and rules and regulations. It's not a big deal to remember. That's the reason people are showing more interest to learn Python. This is one of the main reason. Another important reason why Python became a popular language nowadays. The reason is Python provides lot of libraries. It's provide huge standard libraries. Libraries means what I just discussed. Each library contains some predefined code or predefined logic. That predefined logic already available means as a Python programmer, we need not to develop the logic again because they are giving logic to us. We are ready to use. That's it. The programmer time is not going to waste. Programmer need not to focus much more, and development of the project cost also will be reduced drastically because already some libraries they are providing us directly. We have to know how to use it. So that flexibility is there in Python, but it doesn't mean that other programming languages are not offering the libraries. Yes, Java, C Sharp.NET or C language or C++ also offering some libraries, but not this much extent what Python is providing. So Python is completely provide all the application related libraries. Okay. That's what Python became a popular language nowadays. So before Python, let me speak something. Before Python popular, the programmer options was C, C++ language. Suppose I can say that some situations in the early days, early days, if the programmer want to develop network logic, their choice was programming language called C, C++. And if the programmer wants to write test cases in the testing application, okay, the test engineers were used, the language choice was C Sharp.NET or Java. But nowadays, all the programmers' choice is only one language, that is Python. Why? They shifted into Python. Earlier, what they were used, other languages. Why they have shifted into Python means Python through they are facing some flexibility logics. They are developing some flexibility logics. So Python offer like that libraries only without having complex architecture or without writing more code, and they can finish their application logic or implementation very quickly. That's where Python became popular language, and Python so many people are using still. Okay, fine. I said Python is a programming language. It's very important point I'm telling you. Can see what type of language it is. First of all, Python is a general purpose programming language. General purpose programming language. Very simple, sir. If you call any programming language is general purpose language, for example, okay. See, if you start reading any article, okay, any article related to C language or C++ or something, generally we can see the first statement, this programming language is a general purpose language, high level language. We are going to see that. Is that right? But what is general purpose actually, sir? What is the meaning of general purpose? Very simple. If the programming language is general purpose means using that language, we can build any type of application. Okay, any type of application. So for example, I'll tell you why Python is general purpose. We can call it as using Python, pure software applications we can develop with any business requirement, like business applications. Suppose I'm running one business. I need to provide services to my target customers. So using Python, I can build website or we can build web application and I can provide the services to them. It's a business oriented application. Suppose I want to build data visualizations or data analytics, then Python code is required. Or artificial intelligence or machine learning or deep learning applications I want to build, Python is required. Okay, network programming purpose, Python will offer network related libraries. Even embedded programs, MATLAB programmers, they use Python rapidly. And if you want to design gaming application, Python is required. So not only one sort of application, gaming applications, business applications, web applications, scientific applications, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, neural networks, and data analysis, data science, AWS, DevOps, and many more. Okay. These are applications development is possible with only one language, that is Python. That's where we can call it as it is what? General purpose language. Okay. Very simple. Now coming to this point, Python is called as high-level programming language, sir. What language it is? High level. High level meaning is what? Generally, if we write a program in Python, that program, as a programmer, we are going to concentrate on logic only, sir. Most of the cases, what is your requirement? You have to keep it in your mind. Based on the requirement, you should start develop your code. Is it right? Yes. But no programmer in Python development thinking how my program is required some memory, how much memory is required, and how much should allot after execution, how I can deallocate the memory for execution procedure. These are all we are not at all thinking, we are not at all bother about this memory management. Why, sir? Just because of high level programming language. Not only I'm speaking about Python high level, all the high level languages are having this scenario. If your programming language is high level, meaning is what? All the low level activities will take care by your language itself internally. Low level activities can be managed by default Python itself. That's what we can call it as it is high level language. Low level activities means what, sir? Memory allocation. If unused objects are occupied some memory, that object should be removed from the memory, destroyed from the memory. Okay, that is automatic memory management. Internal security precautions, that is code access security rules. These all can take care by Python programming only. That's what we can call it as high level language. So in Python, no programmer can write a memory management purpose like allocation of the memory, deallocation of the memory. Okay. So for that purpose, we are not going to write any logic. Automatically Python will take care. So that's what it is completely programmer friendly. Just focus on your logic, what you wanted to write. No matter what's going to happen internally, Python only will take care just because of it is high level language. Next, Python is interpreted programming language. Interpreted programming it is. I'll tell you, sir, what is interpreter and compiler. So first of all, to understand what is interpreted programming language, how it is, I would like to include some scenarios. Compiler based languages are there, sir. Compiler based languages. We have already compiler based language like C language, C++, C#.NET, which is .NET related language, it is Java. Okay. So these are the compiler based languages generally. C++, Java, C#.NET and C language. These are all compiler based languages. Now coming to the interpreted based language. Interpreted based language. We are speaking about Python. That's what I'm writing, only Python. But normally, any scripting languages like JavaScript, Perl script, Shell script, HTML, all are interpreted based only. So interpreted based language is Python. See, generally, when it comes to compiler based languages, okay, if I write, suppose few lines of logic, 10 lines of logic code I have written in my program. If it is compiler based language like C, C++, I'm speaking about these languages. 10 lines of logic code I have written. The moment when I start run the application or run the program, this 10 lines of logic code at a time will be checked or at a time will be compiled. Whole lines, no matter, just 10 lines example I'm giving. But programmer may write 100 lines of code or 200 lines of code, no matter. I mean to say in these languages, once the moment I start execution of the program, whole program at a time will check and execute. If after checking whole program, if there was no errors, then directly you will see the output. In case in the checking process in the whole program, there are some errors like 10 errors, 20 errors, 15 errors, 5 errors. All the errors will be disclosed in the error list window. Is it right or not? In these languages, just because of it is compiler based. But when it comes to Python language, same in Python program, if I write same 10 lines of logic code, once I start the execution, but how the execution is going to take place, not whole program. That means total 10 lines of logic code will not process at once. Single attempt, no. Line by line, code will check and execute. First line will check. If everything is fine, the interpreter will jump into next line. If that line is correct, it will jump into third line. In case in the third line, if I get any error, okay, any mistakes, immediately the Python interpreter will stop the execution and it will throw that line error only. So that Python is an interpreted based language. No matter how many number of lines of code is there in your program, code will be processed and execute line by line only. That's what you never notice in the Python development. In the execution procedure, multiple errors which will be there in error list window. We never notice. Okay. 2 errors, 3 errors. No, only one error at a single attempt. You will be able to see that only one error. In which line the error occurred, that line only will disclose. So it's very easy to handle the situations, because if you see these languages, if I write 100 lines of code, after execution, all of a sudden I have seen in the error list window 13, 14 errors. So I'll be shocked, because how I can able to handle the situation, even though I got 13, 14 errors, which error need to be solved first. So programmer will be in dilemma. But in Python, you will not able to see all the errors, even though your program is having 10 errors, but first error where it is there, that is going to be populate, and you should focus on that error and you have to solve it and move towards forward direction. So that is interpreted language. Interpreted means line by line code will check and execute. That is Python. Compiler means whole program at a time will check and execute. These are the compiler based languages. Okay. Now coming to this. Python is dynamically typed programming language. This is one of the best feature in Python. Dynamically typed. Let's talk about again. These are statically typed languages, sir. C language, C++, C Sharp.NET, Java, or what? Statically typed language. See, when I start compare with other language, so that you will have the importance of Python. That's what I'm trying to say this. Statically typed languages are, these are. But I'm saying that dynamically typed means what? Python. So Python is a completely dynamically typed language. What is meaning of dynamically typed? Just listen. In any language, like these languages, if programmer wants to declare the variable or initialize values to the variable, the syntax is like this only, sir, which is common syntax usually. First, they must decide the data type, so that programmer has to know the data types knowledge compulsory in these languages. So programmer has prior knowledge of data types in these languages, especially data type. Okay. Then after that, variable name equals to value. Okay. Syntax is this. Now you can see data type is integer. Variable name is A. Value is 100. So very simple. This is common syntax in any language like C, C++, .NET and Java. But suppose programmer is decide the wrong data type like string, it will give error. Because you mentioned integer value here 100, but you have decided the data type is wrong, that's error only. Is it correct or not? So this is error. So in other languages, compulsory programmer should have the prior knowledge of data types. If they mention wrong data type, it will give error. Okay. So this is compulsory required. So statically typed means during the program typing only, programmer has to decide the data type correctly based on the value. It is must in these languages. But coming to the point, Pythons. I said Python is not a statically typed. It is what? Dynamically typed. Let's give the clarity. What is the meaning of dynamically typed? Dynamically means during the program execution time. Statically means during the program typing time, writing time. So during the program writing time, statically. During the program execution time, dynamically. In these languages, programmer has to decide the data type during the program writing time only. That's what statically typed. But in Python, programmer need not to decide any data type. So simply they should mention variable name equals to value. Even semicolon also not required. Look at this. This is simple syntax I said already. A equals to 100. So look at sir. Did I mention any integer? No, it's not required. And even if you mention forcedly integer also, according to Python rules, it won't allow. It will give syntax error. Wrong syntax that is. So in Python, you must focus only the variable and the value. So variable is A and value is 100. So you can take any value. Like if I change value 10.4, it's okay. No need to have the float importance like this. Even if I try to change my value, it's okay. So based on the value what you assign to the variable, Python interpreter will decide dynamically. That means during the program execution time, it will assign the data type for a variable. This is dynamically typed. So while declaring the variable in Python, as a Python programmer, you need not to specify any data type explicitly. Only you should focus on value and variable. Based on the value, Python interpreter will decide or will assign the data type for your variable A only. So it is programmer friendly. In the initial stage of Python programming, programmer need not to think much more about data types. Priorly, he should not have the idea. But make sure that we are not going to give any data type like this. But it doesn't mean that Python do not have any data types. It's having lot of data types. Later we'll discuss int, float, bool, complex. Even it's having lot of data structures like string, list, tuple, set, uh, range, bytes, byte array, many things. So this is dynamically typed programming language. For example, I'll show you quickly just because of this idea, statically typed and dynamically typed. Just let me launch the editor like one default editor is there. Don't worry, in the tomorrow session, I'll explain how to download Python software and install clearly step by step so that you will get clarity. Right now, I'm having this default editor, ideally integrated development learning environment editor tool. So let me open this editor just for simple programming. Look at this. This is the editor tool of Python. See, if I give int is my data type, a is variable name, value is 100. Just now I explained according to Python rules, this is not correct syntax. Look at this as we expected syntax error, invalid syntax. So you need not to specify any data type from your side because Python is a dynamically typed language based upon the value data type automatically will get for A. Only you can focus on A value 100. Look at this. Do you want to print A? Either you can use print function or else without print function also we can get the value. Look at this print function of A or without print also it's possible to get. But just for your curiosity, I want to know uh, this variable A is getting what data type. Just to know about the data type of A, which is assigned by interpreter, then there is a built-in function in Python type of A. So that we are getting type is what? Integer type A. Even if we try to give suppose A equal to 23.45, okay, 23.56, I'm trying to print A 23. You can check out type of A is what type it is assigned, float type. So based on the value, what we are initializing here, so Python automatically will decide the value type for your variable. So you need not to focus much more on uh, data types in the initial stage of programming because it is dynamically typed. Okay. So Python is dynamically typed. Finally, Python is a case sensitive programming language, sir. Case sensitive programming language. Case sensitive programming language. Case sensitive means very simple. Let me explain once again. Ideally, it is there. And look at this. I'm trying to declare a variable in small letter 100. How I'm trying to access this a variable? A only. Correct. This is correct. But in the process of accessing a variable, if I try to use capital case, will it work, sir? No. Look at this. We got the error called name error. The name A is not defined. Yes, the name small a is defined, but you are trying to access them in capital A. So cases are very important. That means how the way you define or declare the names, lowercase or uppercase, you have to access them with same case only. If you try to access them in other cases, it will give error only. Be careful. It's a Python is completely case sensitive language. So this is totally what type of language it is. Python is a general purpose. That means we can build any type of applications using Python language. Python is a high level language. That means in Python, all the low level activities will take care by Python itself. You need not to contribute any code from our side. And Python is interpreted language. When we write lots of lines of code in Python, and each line by line code will be check and execute and dynamically typed. While declaring the variables, you need not to specify any data type explicitly. Python will decide data types during the program execution time based upon the value what you assign. And Python is case sensitive. The names, what you mention, variable name or function name or class name, what cases you are following, and same cases you must follow while accessing them. So this is about what type of language it is. Fine. Next, I would like to explain about the history of Python, small history. So look at this. Python was designed and developed by Guido van Rossum. He is the man who invented Python. Python was designed and developed by Guido van Rossum in the year of 1989. And the first version, first version of Python was released. First version of Python was released in the year of 1991. So what are the basic versions of Python? I'm writing here. I'm not going to write all the subversions. All the subversions and detailed dates and years completely I mentioned in my PDF. But the main version I'm going to write. The first version 0.9.0 and second 1.x, third 2.x, 3.x. Right now, we are in third version of Python. Look at this. Do you want to know that more clearly? Right now, which is the latest version of Python means I strongly recommend to visit the official website because every couple of days, like 20 days, 30 days after, the Python software foundation people. So right now, Python is completely maintained by PSF, Python Software Foundation. This community only maintained right now Python. This Python Software Foundation people usually they release the minor versions every 1 month or 20 days, couple of days after. That's what to get clarity of the version, latest version, which is I strongly recommend to visit www.python.org. This is the official website of Python. Even somebody wanted to read the documentation part for the Python, I recommend to visit this website. Let's quickly visit this website. What's there in this? I'll tell you. So python.org. So look at this. This is download option is there clearly. And the moment when I click on download option, you will see Python 3.1, 3.0. This is the latest version. Okay. Look at this 3.x means in place of x, you can keep any number 3.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. 2.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. 1.0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Okay. But Python Software Foundation people have stopped the support for these two versions. 0.9.0 as well as one version, they have been stopped the services or support. That means they are not recommend to use these versions for the development. Okay. So right now the latest version is 3.1, 3.0. This is the latest version. But remember that this is not a stable version. Stable version is different. Latest version is different, sir. Stable version is nothing but what? Still, currently the company programmers or developers, what version they are continuously using, that is called stable. Stable version is 3.9 or 3.10. Still the people are using. but this is the latest version. But the moment when Python Software Foundation people release the new version, immediately the company people also will not be migrate into new version, because already the project development has started couple of months back. So immediately they are not going to migrate into the new version. They'll conduct some survey or research in the new version. After that, if that project requirements meets this version, then they can start use. And Python completely free software and open source. Anybody can visit this python.org download option, and they can download it and install it. And look at this, Python is completely platform independent style. That means which will run on Windows, Unix, Linux, Mac OS, and other operating system also. Do you want to download this? You simply click on download 3.1, 3.0. But I'm not going to do this. Tomorrow I'll show you how to download an installation procedure step by step later. And do you want to read the documentation section? You can go through documentation section, beginner's guide, developer's guide, all facts will be there. Python enhancement proposal index also there. Everything you can able to read it. But is new to Python programming, you may not understand the document section properly because lot of deep discussion is there in that. That's what here we are as a trainer to explain or to minimize the things in a comfortable, understandable format only. And if somebody wants to say like, sir, I don't want to download this Python 3.13 version, I would like to download 3.9 or 3.10 version, how it is? Simply scroll down this window and they are providing us to download list of versions here. Look at this. There are a lot of versions are available. Which version do you want? That version history is clearly available, and click on that version and download it. But one thing we notice in this drop down list, when we scroll down, you can see two version is only there. We are not noticing the one version as well as zero version. I said already the 0.9.0, it is the first version, and 1.x second version. But Python Software Foundation people, they have stopped the support to the these two version only. They were recommend to use two version onwards. That's what here we are having two version onwards only. So we can use two above version so that any problem in the development process, the Python Software Foundation community people will assist you. Okay, this is complete Python website officially, and Python version history, basic history. And the name Python was derived from a TV show. Look at this. The name Python was derived from a TV show which was broadcasted in BBC channel. See, the author Guido van Rossum, when he decided to write script of his language, okay, there was a TV show in BBC channel, very popular, famous show, TV show. The TV show name is called The Monty Python Circus Show. Monty Python Circus Show. So that's what the name Python. The author decided that the programming language is Python. He has given working title of his programming language is Python. That's what we are calling this language name is what? Python only. This is the small backstory of this Python, how it is derived. The name Python was derived from a TV show, popular show, which was broadcasted in BBC. The show name is The Monty Python Circus Show. The author decided that their programming language is Python only. That's what we are calling Python. Okay. So this is total basic history and official website of Python and what type of programming language it is Python. Okay. This is the second demo we completed, just basic information. And tomorrow is the very, very crucial session is going to happen and important session is going to happen. Don't miss anybody. Even if you continue my session or not, no matter, but at least tomorrow you just please present so that you will get clarity. In tomorrow session, what my plan is, step by step, how to download Python software. For the first time, do you want to start write code in Python language? How to make setup of Python. That is very, very important. If you miss tomorrow's session, again, you may get bit trouble because you know how to set up your Python programming. Then once you know this editor environments and all, then easily we can able to write the logic. In tomorrow's session, ultimately, I will show you how to download Python software, how to install it. In the installation process, what options you have to follow clearly. And after that, I will also disclose the information clearly, what kind of editor tools are required. And certain editor tools are there, lot of editor tools, and which editor is the best editor and why I'm going to use that editor only with proper reasoning with real-time situations. I'll explain clearly. So the coding part will begin from tomorrow. Don't miss it. As of now, yesterday and today, what I explained, just Python related history and theoretical part. This is also important. So that's all from my side today. Have a nice time. Do you have any questions? You can feel free to ask me. I'll be here for a few more minutes. I can give you answers.
Sir, this is Shanu here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have much questions, but I just want to say one thing that please try to start this Python codings and all from as basic as you can, because uh, I'm not kind of like pro in the coding parts and all.
Obviously, undoubtedly, man. I give complete from scratch fundamentals onwards. You will not at all get any confused with my lectures. Undoubtedly, from scratch I'll teach you. You will become good in programming. Undoubtedly, after at the end of the code, at the end of the course.
Thank you, sir.
That part you can leave it to me.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Yuva.
Sir, actually, nowadays AI is far developing, sir. Is anything affecting Python? AI is affecting this also.
No, AI is not at all affecting with Python because AI is completely depends on Python script.
Okay.
To run your AI tools and provide the services through AI tools, you must write the basic logic with Python code only.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Sir, these live sessions will be recorded and like we can how we will be able to get it there?
See, this is right now. Yesterday's session was recorded. They have uploaded in our YouTube channel. This also
Okay.
recording now. Only
Okay,
5
sir.
demos for every batch. They'll
Okay, sir.
upload in our YouTube channel for new students purpose. If they miss first 1 or 2 sessions, they can able to watch in that channel. Once
Okay, sir.
demo session's over, then the videos will come from my end only, even not DurgaSoft.
Okay, okay, sir.
Yeah.
And one more thing, sir, like if at all we whatever assignments will be giving, if at all we get doubts in that, like how it will be clarified, sir, actually.
Yeah, in the classroom itself, you have to be clarified. And also, we are planning to prepare some WhatsApp group for all Python students only. I am only
Okay, sir.
admin person. So you can
Okay, sir.
keep on, feel free to post your screenshots and while typing any doubts, immediately
Uh-huh.
when I'll get free time, I'll give you response. Even my students
Okay.
also who are knowing that code and they can also respond
Uh,
to you.
okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thanks for attending this session. I request you don't miss tomorrow's session. It's going to be important for you for further sessions. Don't miss at all. Have a nice time. See you tomorrow.